Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Angelika Christie, your show host of my show, Your Radiant Life After 45, right here on Win-Win Women, a platform for women who want more from life, who is globally available to every woman so that she can be magnificent and yes, go to her best possible expression of who she really is. I believe that life is too short to sit idle and wait. Not knowing how to thrive after 45 keeps women stuck and unhappy. You are designed for outrageous happiness in your physical, mental, and emotional body. You are designed for greatness and enjoy life to the fullest in your unique way. So, in my episodes, I show you how to do that. So, welcome again. And what I'm sharing with you today, I actually presented already in 2011. And everybody knows that that was a very, very, very difficult year. 9/11, right? Our lives changed forever after 9/11. And today, this is again a time of great stress. We again live in a time of fear and change. And therefore, I share with you what I shared actually 11 years ago, because it applies again. So the title is Why You Must Let Go of Fear Now. We see and experience anxiety and fear more than ever, and they can create real havoc in all areas of our life. Truth is that if you had no fear, your life would be different. Is that correct? So can you imagine your life without fears and without anxieties? And I do believe that living a fearless life is not only possible, but also necessary. And here's why. Fear is a robber of freedom. Yes, fear robs your freedom. And fear is a thief of your happiness. It steals your happiness. And fear is a barrier to peace. Yes, fear hinders peace. And we see this in our world politics and world affairs all the time. So I wanted to share also a tidbit of from my personal life, because I battled with fear quite a bit in my life, although it rarely really showed on the outside. I believe that this internal fear was present from the beginning of my life, and probably even before I even was born. I was born at a very difficult time in history. I must have felt my mother's terror when the last bombs fell at the end of the Second World War and they utterly destroyed our city, Koblenz, and burned down our house. I was born a few months thereafter in post-war Germany. My mother told me that she was afraid I would starve to death. There was very little food. Yet I don't remember any of this, of course. I was just a babe. But fear and anxiety, I believe, they downloaded into my subconscious mind, into my consciousness as an unborn, because we do have consciousness all the time and we receive signals from our mother. So I believe it really affected my life, really from that early on. So in my 20s and 30s, I became quite a rebel. I often dared and pushed into what I subconsciously was afraid of. I believe I just tried to cover up my fears with boldness. Or at times I withdrew and felt safe by being just withdrawn and on my own. And that happened a lot because my family, as everybody else, was so busy rebuilding that, little kids had to be by themselves quite a bit. Not totally left on their own, but we had to be with ourselves quite a lot. And I did not really, this wasn't unwelcomed. I welcomed this very much as well. So it took many decades until I finally understood what fear was and how to stop that fear cycle. And you too can let go of fear as soon as you realize what is real and what is an illusion. So let's explore what fear is. First of all, fear is impersonal, and which means it's not really something that only happens to you personally, even though that's how it feels, right? Because as real as it feels within your body, fear is not a thing. But here's what fear is. Fear is a chemical and energetic response in your body to an outside event, to an outside circumstance, and even a memory. Let me go into 3 key areas where fear keeps us stuck and paralyzed. Fear of failure, right? Or not being good enough. We all know this, we all go through this, we all battle with this and have to let go of it over and over and over again. And the second one is fear of success. Isn't that something? Because the changes and responsibilities that success brings with it are very unsettling and take us out of the status quo. So whatever is unfamiliar and whatever is we are not used to is something we resist or we become fearful of or have anxieties about. And then, of course, fear of the unknown. And this is what we have in our world today. Because of the pandemic, nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen next. World politics, there is so much upheaval in the world, and nobody knows exactly if we can keep the peace or if it will erupt in wars. So that fear is very real, right? And of course, then fear of disease and even fear of death. That brings something to mind. I heard that the fear of public speaking is even greater than the fear of death. That's interesting. So obviously, I don't really have that, even though, even speakers and presenters get that little butterfly and that anxiety in the beginning. And so we just learned how to either use it or let it go. Okay, so let me just go into what does fear feel like? Fear can feel like a brick of wall, yes? Or a cutting sharp knife. Cutting sharp knife. Those are the feelings you experience in your body. It can also be a nauseating feeling. I mean, somebody tells you something and or your spouse tells you he's going to divorce you, and this is like a punch in your gut, and you feel nauseated maybe right away. So fear can feel nauseating. It can also fear can also feel as if it strangles you, it restricts you. It even could feel like as if it's cutting off your breath. So those sensations can be felt really anywhere in your body. And these are the many reasons why fear shows up so powerfully within our body, and why we are always faced with fear. And it can come up very quickly, but we can also create it ourselves just by going into something that was negative or painful or horrific, and we experience it in the past, but it's gone, it's the past. But when we go back into it, the fear comes right up. Or maybe you don't feel it as fear, but how the fear feels, maybe like a nauseating feeling, or like the brick wall, or like the cutting knife. Or if you go in the future and imagine something that hasn't happened and probably may never happen, but the moment you do this, it becomes reality for you, and fear can attack you immediately. But let's just see fear. What is fear really, and where does it come from? Fear is a primal instinct and is a leftover that still resides in our cellular memory. And of course, people say, yeah, it's part of our reptilian brain, but it's actually part of every cell in your body. There is that imprint that is from the brain. Every cell in our body is like a miniature brain. So it is actually part of every cell of your body. So, of course, our ancestors really needed it for their survival, right? And therefore, you and I are here now. It's good that they had this strong, this powerful instinct of detecting fear, detecting danger, and it created those fear reactions. But obviously, predators are not chasing us anymore, nor do we have to kill tribes or a foreign member of any, like we feel today that we are threatened by a religious group or a different country, people of different countries. No, we don't have to defend our lives like this anymore unless we are in actual war. And we need to prevent war. War is horrific, and I think we have been, our frontal cortex has really developed into a condition where wars can become obsolete. Don't you think so? So, but let us explore when fear actually started in your life for the very first time. Would you want to know this? When I thought about it, it became so clear, and I actually went back into this experience when it happened in my life. Of course, I didn't consciously experience it, but it was subconsciously and intuitively I knew it, where it comes from and where it came from for you as well. So your first fear began at the moment when the time arrived for you to be born into this world. So what happened? Your cozy, warm, soft, and liquid universe that was, excuse me, that surrounded your small and delicate body, which was really perfect. It had that perfect environment. All of a sudden, that was changing. Your awareness of subdued sounds, colors, and your mother's steady heartbeat, and all of that was so soothing. No fear was there, but a growing awareness, and your consciousness grew in detecting all of these things as you developed in your mother's womb. Until, yes, and here we come into when this environment changed, until those contractions set in, right? Those violent contractions that minimized your space in your already small container, because you have grown to a certain size and your mother's womb became very tight, right? You had no idea what was happening when this even got smaller and pressed you, but you were definitely pushed harder and harder against a small opening until you were forcefully pressed and squeezed out of your paradise. You experienced darkness and pressure in this seemingly endless journey through a very narrow tunnel. What do you think you felt? You felt powerless, right? You felt frightened and confused until at the end of this tunnel, a bright light beckoned you into what could have been heaven, but it was not. You were pushed and pushed into a foreign, loud, and cold environment. And then you could not breathe. And then, worst of all, you were severed. You were cut loose from the only warm and protective body you knew, your mother. The umbilical cord was cut, severed. When that happened, a terrifying stream of cold air rushed into your delicate new lungs. Shock and panic flooded your tiny shivering body, and you let out your first primal scream. Fear left its imprint deep within the memory of your innocence. Take a deep breath. We all went through that in one way or the other. Well, if you have been born by cesarean birth, that may have been a little bit different, but you were still taken out of your paradise into a cold, rough, noisy, and bright world. Yet your soul within your tiny body did not abandon you. Your soul comforted you during countless hours of sleep throughout your first months of life on earth. And it downloaded into your cells its energetic blueprint and the divine coding for your life's plan and purpose. Wow, isn't that beautiful? So you were cared for, at least most of us. Some were not so lucky, but let's just focus on how it should have been, and hopefully and probably was, that you were cared for, fed, clothed, and rocked to sleep. Your world was perfect again, until soft and gentle voices switched to harsh and high-pitched calls, and smiling faces turned stern. To you, a very unfamiliar and even frightening change. Welcome to your toddler years. Yes, and if you have kids, you know, right? You know. And from there, the barrage of no's often stopped your creative explorations, right? You had no clue why the world around you changed from a friendly to a rather dangerous place. Fear was firmly downloaded into your subconscious mind and also in your conscious mind, because you were reminded constantly of how dangerous this is. Don't do this, because if you do this, this will happen. And you better don't do this, you will regret it. And you know, the whole barrage, we know it. We all have experienced it and maybe even repeated it to our children. But as adults now, we can live in a rather safe world if we choose, because no predators are chasing us anymore. And yet, there are predators, but there are not predators that chase us outside and kill us. But there are mental predators, emotional predators. And since we are still so strongly attached to fear, often authorities, the media, and even governments apprehend us into predictable behavior by playing on our almost addiction to fear. Addiction not consciously, but it's automatic because it has been instilled in us for so long. We are programmed from ancient times, and it is part of our primal instinct, right? Which the media uses successfully, very successfully, in all of the marketing, even not as aggressively, even in soft marketing. You know, when somebody tries to sell you something and tells you, you know, you better click this right now, because this is only here for a very short period of time. And if you don't do this, there are only so many available, you miss it. And then you will never get the chance again, because this is you know all of this. This all plays on this primal instinct of fear. It's not as open, but it actually, that's what it is. So, but I believe that, well, okay, so let me say we are brainwashed because nature has put this in our primal instinct, that we are more triggered by what is wrong than what is right. We are actually 90% or pay more attention to what is dangerous, what is wrong, what could be unpleasant, anything that is not nice or good is grabs our attention first, okay? But I believe the time has come. Change has come to our world. In the last decades, especially, we have been rapidly evolving personally and globally. People all across the earth are waking up to be more empowered and with a new understanding. We now know that we are who we are, and that we are all energy, and the choices that we have and how we can be. I believe that the time has come to permanently let go of fear by seeing what it is and what it is not. We will never, never let go of that primal fear that keeps us safe, that keeps us from jumping off a cliff or from doing something totally crazy. Some still do, and they're just lucky not to die. But that fear you cannot really get rid of. I mean, if you step into an oncoming traffic because you have been absent-minded, the moment that happens, you will pull back, and this is a reaction of your autonomous nervous system. You don't think about it. Your body reacts faster. So that fear impulse is good, all right? So we are not talking about letting go of that, okay? So, but this time, you know, we can choose into a rebirth, supported by our awakening heart, by our soul, and our unshakable inner knowing of who we really are and what we came here to do, what we came here to transform into. And this has become now a shared human experience. And I am so glad about that. Because together we can give birth to a new humanity in the approaching new world age. And fear cannot be part of that new awakened human. Yet uncertainty is part of every birthing process, right? But does a mother not trust her body and soul to bring about a new life without knowing how her body and spirit accomplishes this? As much as a mother can trust the wisdom and intelligence of her body, we can trust in God's perfect design and process for a new earth and a new humankind. The divine wants us to develop and to move into this new earth. And we entered a new world era in 2012, a 5,000 year new era where all of this will be happening. And just recently, we changed into the age of Aquarius, also a very promising time. So this is just a little bit of a tidbit of what I know, but maybe you don't care about this. That's fine. But physics and metaphysics came to join each other's understanding about our true nature. We now know that everything is energy, right? Just vibrating at different frequencies. And also we know that there is a divine intelligence at work in our lives, in everything. Because within every cell of your physical body resides the code for your perfect life's plan. This intelligence also holds the key to your unlimited power and creativity, which is available to you at all times if you want to go there, if that's your choice, it's there for you all the time. I actually wrote a book, and it's called Your Intelligent Cell, and I wrote it in 2011. Your intelligent cell, it's the intrinsic relationship with your body. And in this little book, I explain how to contact and communicate with your divine cellular intelligence, with your intelligent cells. So there is no fear within the amazing cooperation between your different body systems. The inherent intelligence within every cell in your body knows how to be healthy and vibrant and even heal any affliction. Your soul's essence also resides there. By tuning into your deep-rooted knowing and your soul's wisdom, you can weed out fear for good. Your soul is not a religious or elusive idea, but the immortal entity that is you. So there is no dogma there. You have always been in existence from the very beginning of creation, and you will go on forever, not in this body, but in your soul substance. If you believe that you have a soul, then you also believe in a supreme being, right? A creator of all that is, a God, whatever name you give it. Can you imagine a fearful God? Do you think God feels fear? I don't think so. Then it must be true that your soul does not experience fear either. And this has nothing to do with religion again. Every human has a soul, whether you believe it or not. But we also have our ego, right? And only your fearful ego holds you back. But your ego actually is a dwarf compared to your soul. Your soul is a fear buster. I think we now have established that in the presence of your soul, of your soul's energy, no fear is there. No fear is possible. But you do have free will. You have a choice to either stay within the walls of fear, which may give you the illusion of safety, or you choose to let go of fear and gain truth and love and unity and peace. The question is, will you let go of fear? How? By calling forth your true being, by knowing your intrinsic cellular intelligence, and by aligning your body and your mind with your soul's divine logic. Yes, it requires practice and stillness to listen, but you have me. Get in touch with me. Find out how to do this, and you can, I send you, if you do this, I send you my little book, Your Intelligent Cell, Intrinsic Relationship with your body. All right? And I have so many more gifts to give you, but you need to get in touch with me, and my everything you need to know about me, including how to get in touch with me, is in my bio. So look there, okay? Look, it's all there. So, in conclusion, will you let go of fear and live a fearless life? Will you become a champion for the light? Will you allow your transformation, like the caterpillar transforms into the butterfly? Will you become a forerunner and model for the new human? Will you? It is your choice. You must choose now. So, I believe that women are pillars of a new consciousness and must lead the way. So contact me if you want to find out how to take the next step. And I am so grateful that you spent this time with me. And I hope you have gotten a lot out of this. I hope a lot of things became clear to you, and just maybe some sparks of ahas went off. Okay, but this is all I will share with you right now. And please come back and be with me next Saturday, same time. Until then, I see you soon.